Today in Ottawa, something quietly shifted, and Washington may not fully understand it yet. No speeches. No headlines screaming crisis. Just a silent shuffle inside Canada's government. That could change how power is exercised, not just at home, but across the border too. In politics, the loudest moves are rarely the most powerful. The real power shifts happen quietly, behind closed doors, inside institutions most people never think about. And that's exactly what just happened in Ottawa. Prime Minister Mark Carney has announced a major shuffle of deputy ministers and senior public servants, a long-expected move, but one that carries far deeper implications than the headlines suggest. On paper, it looks procedural. A routine reshuffling of names. But in reality, this is how a prime minister reshapes the entire machinery of government. 12 senior officials are receiving new assignments. 8 major departments now have new deputy ministers. And 8 former deputy ministers are exiting the federal government altogether. This isn't cosmetic. This is structural. Deputy ministers are not politicians. They don't campaign. They don't give interviews. But they are the people who translate political vision into action. They control how policy is implemented. They advise ministers behind the scenes. They decide what moves quickly, and what quietly stalls. So when a prime minister reshuffles them, he's not just moving people around. He's setting the direction of the state itself. One of the most notable changes is the appointment of Nick Leswick, formerly Executive Director for Policy at the Bank of Canada, as Canada's new Deputy Minister of Finance. That choice alone sends a clear signal. Carney is prioritizing economic discipline, financial credibility, and long-term stability, not short-term political optics. Then there's John MacArthur, a senior fellow at the Brookings Institution in Washington, D.C., now joining the Privy Council office as Deputy Secretary to the Cabinet for Economic Policy. That appointment matters, especially south of the border. Because when someone with deep experience inside Washington's policy ecosystem moves into Canada's central decision-making hub, it suggests something important. Carney is not just thinking domestically. He's thinking geopolitically. At a time when U.S. politics is growing louder, more volatile, and more unpredictable, Canada appears to be doing the opposite. Quiet. Calculated. Institutional. Marie-Josée Hogue, a respected judge who led Canada's federal inquiry into foreign interference, is now becoming Deputy Minister of Justice and Deputy Attorney General. That's not accidental. It signals that national security, legal resilience, and sovereignty are moving closer to the center of government decision-making. Meanwhile, Chris Fox, formerly Deputy Clerk of the Privy Council, is now taking over as Deputy Minister of Defense. Again, not a flashy headline, but a serious one. Together, these moves reveal a pattern. Economic control. Institutional discipline. Legal authority. Defense readiness. This isn't chaos. It's consolidation. Earlier this year, Carney selected Michael Sabia as the new clerk of the Privy Council, the single most powerful non-elected official in the country. The clerk oversees the entire public service. Deputy ministers answer to the clerk. And the clerk answers directly to the Prime Minister. So with this shuffle, Carney isn't just putting his stamp on government. He's locking in alignment. Now here's where the story gets more interesting, and where Washington enters the picture. For years, Canada has often been reactive to U.S. political swings. Trade tensions. Tariff threats. Leadership changes. But this reshuffle suggests something different. Instead of reacting to whoever occupies the White House, whether it's Joe Biden or a possible return of Donald Trump, Carney appears to be insulating Canada's system itself. Strong institutions don't panic when personalities change. And that may be exactly what makes this shift unsettling for Washington. Because Trump-era politics thrives on unpredictability, pressure tactics, and rapid escalation. What Carney is building looks like the opposite. A government machine that moves slowly, but decisively. Quietly, but firmly. And one that doesn't respond well to public threats. From Washington's perspective, that's harder to pressure. You can tweet at politicians. You can threaten tariffs. But you can't easily intimidate a deeply aligned, technocratic system that's been deliberately designed to absorb shocks. And Carney knows this. The Prime Minister's office has already hinted that more changes to the senior ranks of the public service will be announced early in the new year. Which tells us this isn't the end of the reshuffle. It's phase 1. So the real question isn't whether these changes matter. It's who they're preparing Canada for. A more aggressive United States? A return of Trump-style trade brinkmanship? A global economy entering another period of instability? Carney isn't saying it out loud. But the architecture he's building suggests he's planning ahead, not reacting late. And that's why this shuffle changes everything. Because by the time the consequences become visible to the public, the system will already be locked in place. Quietly. Deliberately. And very much on purpose. Did Mark Carney just change the game for Canada? Comment below your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe for daily updates on Canadian politics, economy, and international relations.